I want to ask, like, mashallah, you are in the position where a lot of people want to be. Even I want to be. And you have done a lot of great things, you have achieved a lot of things. What are the situations, circumstance, event, or people who help you to become who you are today?
Really, if sometimes I think to myself that when I meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when people meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will question them, right? He will ask them what did you do and so on and right, wrong. When I meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with all due respect, I will ask Him, and I will ask Him, I will say, why me? Meaning that in my whole life, to me, is a series of miracles. Series of miracles, mu'jizat, series of miracles. Because the kind of people Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused me to meet at different stages of my life, and how those people went out of the way to help me. It's incredible. I have no reason, I do not deserve any of that. Those people gained literally nothing from me. I was always a very, very good student or mentee of whoever mentored me. That much I'll tell you. I mean, no mentor of mine ever had to wait for me. No mentor of mine ever had to complain about anything. I was always early. To this day, I'm never late. I always take notes, all of this stuff. But what they gave me is something which I cannot possibly describe. People, and amazing people. My mentors were in Hyderabad nobility. They were among the noblemen of Hyderabad and women. People who taught me, including physics. For example, some people who taught me horse riding. Right, one of the big Nawabs of Hyderabad. He taught me how to ride a horse. For what? I mean, I'm not related to him, nothing. Right? I was just a friend of his son's, and I used to hang out there, and that's how I learned. So many things like this, which I learned from people, and then also I learned by observing very closely. I think two things: asking questions very respectfully and observing very closely. And clearly, like, how do you eat? How do you drink? When somebody meets somebody else, how are they meeting? When they are in a particular kind of company, how do they behave? All of this, just listening and watching. So this is something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I learned. The other thing also I learned was that I listen very carefully to people, especially people who give me feedback. I listen very carefully to them. I appreciate people who give me critical feedback. That sounds maybe dumb, but it's not. I don't go seeking for, I don't say, please tell me something bad about, no, I don't do that. People will tell you without asking. But when somebody tells you, like just yesterday somebody told me, something which, one of my very good friends, he told me, I think you have reached your peak. Right? He told me this to my face. Now, to me, I find this very motivating.
Okay.
And you might say, well, people get discouraged. I don't get. I get hugely motivated when somebody tells me something like this. That I think you have reached your peak. Because then the thing to me was, okay, I'm going to show you.
Oh, okay. I like it. I like the mindset.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to show you. I will write down the date and the space and the point and the time at which you told me I have reached my peak, and I'm going to come back to you 5 years from now. And then I will show you what's the peak. So I get very motivated when somebody gives me this kind of feedback. Many people say, oh, how discouraging. No, I find it very encouraging. So it's a question of attitude. How do you learn from situations which many people might find adverse? Everything is value neutral in life. This is what I see here. Everything is value neutral. How it affects you is what you decide. So the power is in your hands. It's like the remote control. Take it. People give away the remote control to somebody else. It's, he made me. How can anybody make you feel anything? Your feelings are your feelings. Nobody can make you feel sad, glad, bad, mad. It's up to you, right? What you want to do. If somebody says something, I choose to be affected by that, negatively or positively. Why would I choose to be affected negatively? I've got no reason. I would always want to be affected positively, and that is always possible. No matter what somebody is saying or doing. I'm not talking about somebody physically assaulting you. That's a different thing. Hopefully that won't happen. And learn to fight if that happens. But the point is that other than that, they can only say something. Treat it. the way you take it, alhamdulillah. So that's I think, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's...
Yeah, I have some follow-up questions.
Okay.
I have one question, but before that, I will ask this question. You say that you choose what you want to take from that. How will you say you were like this, like taking everything positive, or the things that spark you to do the greater things? You were like this since the beginning, or there was a phase of life then you become like that?
That's a good question. I don't know if I can put any particular date or time on that, but I think, right at the beginning when I was growing up, when I was in school, I was very, very self-conscious. I was very shy, I was very self-conscious. There was a time when I went through a phase where I was very, very low self-confidence, very low self-confidence. I don't think I ever fell into depression or despair or anything, but definitely very low self-confidence. And then it all started coming up. I had a very, very wonderful mentor at that time. I used to call her Auntie Mohini Rajan, who really helped me enormously in building that confidence. And I had another mentor who was her younger brother, whose name was Raja Venkatrama Reddy, with whom I used to spend all my summer and winter holidays. I would spend there. He had a house on the bank of a river in the middle of the forest in India, in Satpura, and I would go and spend the whole of summer and the whole of winter there. That house had no electricity, it had no running water, right? It was just a house. So I lived for months there. No power, you rise up with the sun, you sleep with the sun.
Okay.
Yeah. And you had one kerosene lantern that would be there just to give you some light, that's it. Otherwise the moonlight, if there's moon. If there's no moonlight, a little bit of kerosene lantern. Thoroughly, I have lived in the forest and enjoyed nature like nobody's business. So I think this period is what built my confidence. And then as soon as I finished my college, my bachelor's, I went off to Guyana, South America. And I lived there in the middle of the Amazonian rainforest for 5 years. I ran a mining town. So today when people who are 21, 22 years old and they say, oh, but I can't go here, I can't go there, and then they have... I say when I was 22 years, I was running a town.
Okay.
So you're telling me, so sorry, I'm not impressed.
Yeah.
So I lived that. And that, I think, really gave me enormous confidence, because it was like I got dumped into the middle of the sea, so I had to learn to swim. And there was nobody else. So I did. Yeah.
Okay, so we talk about the low self-confidence. I don't know, it just came to my mind. I think so far we have heard number of people, everyone say that I was a low self-esteem in the beginning, and I think this is like more than 95%.
Yeah, it happens.
So wait, what do you think? I think based on your story, I think it feel like when you get hard situation, when you came out from that hard situation, you become like more self-confidence. What I realize. What do you think about how someone is a low self-esteem and or low confidence and more confidence? So what make people confident?
I think what makes people confident, or really actually what helps in any situation, is how you deal with that experience you had. And I think two things are very important. One is for you to reflectively, I call it reflective observation. So reflect on what happened. Right? Say for example, you go into, you apply for a job, you get called to an interview, you have the interview. Now when you come out of the interview, you must do two things. Firstly is reflective observation, is think about this in detail and say, how did I do this interview? And try to go into as much granular detail as you can. How did I sit? How did I talk? Did I make eye contact or not? When I was speaking, was I using a lot of non-words? Saying, was I speaking too fast, too slow? go into as much granular detail as possible. What was the reaction of the interviewer? What did they look like? What was their facial expression? Possibly, or you're guessing, obviously, but still, to that extent. So, what questions were asked? How did I answer those questions? Reflective observations. So, reflect on the actual experience. After you do that, it's very important to do what I call conceptualization. So, form a concept out of that. So say that in an interview, therefore, what should I do more of? What should I do less of? What should I start doing? What should I stop doing?
Okay.
To make a framework. Start, stop, do more, do less. Right? And say in an interview, what must I do? From my experience, what did I learn? So experience is not just one whole, mass of thoughts and feelings. It is something which you have taken this mass of thoughts and feelings and extracted from it actual teachable points. That is what helps.
Okay.
So get structured with the experience. Everybody has an experience. You, me, and the cow. We all have experience. But what you learn from that is what makes a difference. So, like they say, experience is not what happens to you. Experience is what you do with what happens to you.
Okay, interesting. I like it.
Yeah, so experience, you drive a car on the road, you have experience. What did you learn from that? So always, my father I must give the credit for this to my father. My father always used to say, what did you learn? No matter where you are. So I go out to my friends, I come back, what did you learn? I'm thinking myself, I didn't go to learn anything. I just went to hang out with my friend. I just went to play ball with them or something. What did you learn? Whatever you went for, what did you learn?
Okay.
Now this is a very, very powerful tool. So if you train yourself to ask this question always, what did I learn? Imagine, believe me, you will learn a hell of a lot. Now I add to that and say, write it down.
Okay.
What do you learn? For example, I worked for a family business in India for 10 years. And because of my location, because of the fact that I speak Tamil fluently, and these were Tamil entrepreneurs and so on, I became very good friends with the founder, Mr. A.M. Arunachalam. It's a $4 billion company. The whole group is a $4 billion group, 25 different companies and so on. And he passed away, so he was the boss. He was the founder, chairman. So he used to come, and we were located in Kanyakumari. In India, if you take the Indian map, the bottom, we were there at that time. And there was a temple there that he and his wife used to go and worship at. So he would come and stay with us, and then he would go to the temple. So in the evening, we would sit, and because I speak Tamil, he used to speak English fluently also, but people like to speak their own language. So because I speak Tamil fluently, he and I would have the long conversations. And I would ask him, I would tell him, please tell me, how did you start this business? How did your family start the business? They started in Burma. In those days, Myanmar was Burma. They started in Burma, they got thrown out of there, they came to India. So how did all this happen? And then I would ask him, as a family businessman, how does it work? You are the founder, how does it work? Second, third, fourth generation, how do you... Now, literally, A.M. Arunachalam was the man who kind of, taught me, mentored me about the whole business of family businesses. Now, what I would do is I would talk to him, listen to him very carefully, ask him questions. Many of those questions I would have previously, created for myself. I said, this is what I'm going to ask him next time I meet him. I would do that. I would take notes. And the result of that was that in 2010, I published my book called The Business of Family Business. And I dedicated that book to his memory. Right? The Business of Family Business, which talks about family businesses. How do you do and what, and the whole issue of mentoring and so on, so on, so on. So my knowledge of family businesses comes from this, from actually having worked for 10 years in a family business and being so close to the founder and being mentored by the founder himself. So now when I go and talk to family business clients, I'm talking from an extremely rooted, experiential place. I'm not I'm not talking some theory which I learned in business school. I went to one of the best business school in India, but that's not where I'm talking from. I'm talking from actual, getting my feet on the ground and hands dirty. So that's what you need to do. So experience, convert that experience in a structured way into a teachable, learnable format, which is conceptualization. That must happen. That whole cycle must happen.